Hello, everyone, and welcome to epreneur Podcast, Episode 8, where we talk about how spending your dollar wisely can have a far greater of an impact than voting at the polls. We're going to put the power back into the people's hands with this one, so stick around. Welcome back to another episode of epreneur Podcast, where we are bridging the gap between business and sustainability. We want to educate and motivate sustainpreneurs by discussing important topics, debating different perspectives, and by showcasing those of you out there who are doing it right now. I'm your host, Nate Hansen, and we're glad to have you with us. So let's get started. Open up your wallet and take a look at a $1 bill. Now, if you're driving or don't have a dollar, don't get too upset. Just imagine what a dollar bill looks like. Now imagine putting that same dollar into the ballot box at the voting polls. Because that's essentially what we're doing every time we buy something. We're giving that dollar, and a lot of times way more than just a dollar, to everyone in that product or service supply chain. We're supporting every employee, all that they do, every stakeholder, and every organization that company supports. Be it you're buying a donut, a coffee, a car, or a diamond ring. You are supporting everything that company does. That's powerful. But it's powerful whether you know what you're supporting or not. It's not like that dollar bill only has power when we know that what we're supporting is a good cause. It's powerful every time you spend it, regardless of whether or not you know what you're buying or not. That's why it's important for us to get into the habit of doing just a tiny bit of research on things before we buy. Just like how we comparison shop for best prices on things. We should shop for things that align with what we value the most. That used to be impossible to do on the fly, but now we have the veritable fountain of knowledge right there in our front pockets. It's called the smartphone with a 4G network and soon to be 5G. And as sustainpreneurs, we are always trying to support this philosophy in our customers because that's where we know we can grow our triple bottom line. That's also why we market our sustainable endeavors. Because otherwise, how will the people of the world know that we need to be supported so that we can continue doing what's right for them and our planet? One of the best examples of how this works is in the recent protest at Standing Rock. In a way, the protest itself was really just the opening act. The real change started happening when communities and organizations started rogering up and quit supporting those who were financing the Dakota pipeline. Seattle completely cut Wells Fargo out of its financial loop because of their involvement. That meant a $3 billion loss annually to Wells Fargo's bottom line. You don't think they felt that? They did. Here's another example. Take the recent controversy over NFL players not standing for the national anthem. All you kept hearing about is how they're against the troops if they don't stand. Now, I really don't have an opinion one way or another in this because I think people really just made too big of a deal out of it anyway. But the point is, if you don't like it, don't pay to watch it. And you'll hit them right where it hurts the most, in their wallets. It'll hurt worse than a kick to the nuts. But one thing's for sure, their goal was to get the country's attention for Black Lives Matter. Any way you look at it, they were successful in gathering an audience. But getting back to the $1 equals 1 vote correlation, we are constantly told that we, as American citizens, have the power of the vote. But more and more of us have come to question the validity of this notion with the last 2016 election. Because if the popular vote doesn't really matter, is it truly a democracy? Another debate for another time, perhaps, but that's why an informed consumer can make more of a difference if they just quit focusing on complaining about the problem and start putting their money where their mouth is. If they don't support the Dakota Pipeline, don't bank through Wells Fargo. If they don't like the NFL players who are kneeling during the national anthem, they should cancel their NFL subscription and quit buying their merchandise. Find where their money spigot is and just shut it off. But please don't let people just complain about it. Give them a call to action. What we as sustainapreneurs suggest is believing in the power of money to make the change we wish to see in the world. You don't have to have a lot of it, although having a lot can really speed things up. We just need to be more tactical with what money we do have. Because an entire lifetime of income is worth far more than a lifetime of poll visits. Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying don't vote. Voting is still important and very easy to do. What I'm saying is the dollar, pound for pound, carries far more weight. So we as sustainapreneurs can usually agree that waiting around for our politicians to get things done is like waiting for rain in a drought. It's better to just do it yourself. And business is the arena we've chosen to do it in. We saw that our social and environmental issues were not being addressed fast enough and decided to take matters into our own hands. We decided to join the thousands, if not millions, of sustainably minded movers and shakers out there and add to the solutions rather than to just sit around and wait for someone else to do it. So I've got a suggestion for you. Take that same dollar I asked you to pull out earlier, or find one at some point in your day, and write in big bold letters, 1 vote. Right on the front of that buck. Keep it in your wallet as a reminder of this very idea. Besides, a dollar can't really buy you anything anymore these days anyway. That concludes our episode for today. As always, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, share, rate, and subscribe. And we'll see you all again next time on Sustainapreneur Podcast, where we are bridging the gap between business and sustainability.